The soil, also known as the pedosphere, is in fact the remarkable meeting place between four distinct worlds. These are the aerosphere, consisting of air like nitrogen and oxygen we breathe, the hydrosphere consisting of water, the lithosphere consisting of minerals and the salts. Finally, we have the biosphere, which consists of organic matter, dead or alive. Now, among the soil, there's this area known as the rhizosphere. It's found around the plant roots, and it's remarkable because of its richness in plant root exudates. These exudates include lot of plant cells and metabolites that can form complex interactions with the biotic and abiotic factors around them, causing the rhizosphere to be known for having the largest diversity and abundance of microbes in the soil ecosystem, each with their own interactions with one another. Now, this is where I come in. Hi, I'm Mok, a mycorrhiza fungi which live around the rhizosphere. Now, being a fungi means that instead of forming unicells, I form extensive network of hyphae which I call mycelia. I use this mycelia to colonize the area around me and to establish connection with my plant host. In fact, my kind, the mycorrhizae, has successfully formed connection with over 90% of the world's plant species. My mycelia allows me to strengthen the soil structures and improve cell stability. Not only that, it also serves as attachment points for bacterial colonization, and my exudates can influence bacterial community composition as well. You can think of me as a landlord, a middleman who can look for the tenants to live in the rhizosphere. However, as a mycorrhiza, my main job is of course to make my main boss, which are my plant hosts, happy. So to do that, I can provide nutrients like this, the phosphate. As you can see, I can utilize my enzymes to enhance nutrient availability in the soil. And with my wide network of mycelia, I serve as a delivery man to enhance nutrient and water uptake to my plant hosts throughout different parts of the soil. In that way, I can enhance their abiotic stress tolerance. Not only that, however, I can also help in signal transduction between plant hosts, for example, against pathogen invasion. This alerts them and allows them to trigger their defense mechanisms faster. So now I'm going to submit this phosphate so I can receive my payment in the form of photosynthetic sugar. Oh, but before that, I need to introduce you to other phosphate solubilizers. Hi, Ke-ying.
Hello everyone, I'm phosphate solubilizing bacteria. As you can see, I'm breaking down long-chain insoluble phosphorus polymers into simple, soluble forms that plant can absorb. So, what are phosphate solubilizing bacteria? Phosphate solubilizing bacteria are a group of beneficial microorganisms found in soil and in association with plant roots. My main role is to convert insoluble forms of phosphorus, which plants can't use, into soluble forms that plants can be absorbed and utilized. Phosphorus is one of the three primary macronutrients for plants. It plays a crucial role in root development, flowering and fruiting, energy transfer, and also photosynthesis. So now, let's talk about how I as a phosphate solubilizing bacterium works. I solubilize fixed phosphorus in the soil through various processes. First, through production of organic acids. For example, gluconic acid, citric acid, and oxalic acid. These acids lower soil pH, which helps dissolve phosphate rocks and inorganic phosphorus compounds. Second, through enzyme secretion. Enzymes like phosphatases and phytases help break down organic phosphorus sources like plant residues. Third, through ion exchange. Organic acids bind cations like calcium ion and aluminium ion that otherwise binds phosphorus. So, what are the benefits of using phosphate solubilizing bacteria? First, I increase phosphorus availability in the rhizosphere. I reduce dependence on chemical fertilizers. I enhance plant growth and yield. And lastly, I improve soil structure and soil health. In addition to playing a key role in phosphorus availability, I also contribute to the carbon cycle by organic acid production and also interaction with plant roots. I am phosphate solubilizing bacteria. Thank you.
We have met the phosphate solubilizer. It's important to note that it's not the only limiting factor in the soil micro ecosystem. we also have other limiting factor which we know is a nitrogen, and that is the role of another of my friends. Hi.
Hi everyone, I'm Rhizosphere, a proud member of the nitrogen-fixing bacteria family. I may be small, but I play a huge role in helping my plant partners grow strong and healthy. You might wonder, how can a tiny microorganism like me support the plants? Well, let me tell you, my job is essential. Although there are lots of nitrogen-fixing bacteria, I specialize in leguminous plants nitrogen fixation, which is a process of converting atmospheric nitrogen, a form plants cannot use, into ammonia, which they can absorb and use to grow. But I don't do this alone. I work in a symbiotic partnership with leguminous plants. You could say that the plants are my boss, and I live in their root rent-free in exchange for doing some important work. It all starts with nodule formation. First, I infect the root hairs of the plants, forming something called an infection thread. This causes the root hair to curl and the thread travels deeper into the root cortex cells. There, some of my fellow bacteria transform into special forms called bacteria. These bacteria trigger the plant cells to divide, forming nodules, which are the little factories where the nitrogen fixation happens. Inside the nodules, the real magic begins. I release a special enzyme called nitrogenase, which converts nitrogen gas into ammonia. But the nitrogenase is very sensitive to oxygen, so my plant bodies help out by producing the hemoglobin, a pigment that grabs excess oxygen and keeps things nice and anaerobic for me to work. This process also needs hydrogen donors like glucose or pyruvate, ATP for energy, and carbon compounds to bind the ammonia. Once ammonia is met, I pass the baton to my fellow soil bacteria, Nitrosomonas, Nitrococcus, and Nitrobacter. Together, they convert ammonia into nitrates and then nitrates, which the plant can finally absorb and use to grow. So yes, I might be microscopic, but without me and my bacteria buddies, plants will struggle to get the nitrogen they need. That's why we nitrogen fixers are the unsung heroes of agriculture.
Now that we have seen the nitrogen fixer, it's also notable that they actually live inside the plant root, so which makes them an endophyte. So now we are going to meet another of our endophyte friends which specialize in producing metabolites.
Hi guys, welcome to the inner world of the plant. I'm an endophyte, a beneficial microorganism and part of the plant growth promoting bacteria family. I live inside the plant, specifically in the roots, stems, and leaves. Unlike harmful pathogens, I'm not here to hurt the plants or be a freeloader. Instead, I'm a hard worker, making sure that the plants grow strong and stays healthy from the inside. Now, let me show you how I first interact with the plant in the rhizosphere. As an endophyte, I live in the rhizosphere, where root exudates from the plant attract me and other beneficial microbes. These exudates are like signals, telling me to come help the plant grow and stay healthy. Once I'm in the rhizosphere, I start to colonize the plant's roots. I move through lateral root hairs and enter the plant's tissues, setting up residence to help from within. The rhizosphere microbiome includes me and other beneficial microbes. We work together, interacting with plant roots and helping it grow and thrive. After entering the plant, I don't just stay in the roots. I move systemically through the plant's tissues, reaching the stem, leaves, and flowers, enhancing the plant's resilience and supporting its growth. Now, we move on to see how I help the plant grow, stay healthy, and face challenges. One of the main ways I help plants is by fixing nitrogen. I convert atmospheric nitrogen into a form the plant can use, which is important for its growth. I also produce growth hormones like IAA, gibberellins, and cytokinins, which stimulate root growth and help the plant absorb more water and nutrients. Besides that, I help plants tolerate stress. Whether it's drought, salinity, or extreme temperatures, I help them adapt by producing osmolytes and antioxidants. Not only that, I also produce antimicrobial compounds that protect the plant from pathogens, helping it stay healthy and free from disease. Overall, I help the plant grow stronger, more resilient, and better equipped to thrive in challenging environments. So, the next time you see a healthy plant, remember I, the endophyte, am here to help it grow, stay healthy, and resist stress from the inside out. I may be small, but I make a big difference in how plants grow and thrive, helping them survive and even thrive in the toughest environments. Thanks for learning about me today.
Now that we have met the endophyte, let me introduce you to another important secondary metabolite producer in the soil ecosystem. Let us meet the actinomycetes.
Hello there, I'm actinomycete, a filamentous gram-positive bacteria living deep in the soil. I grow long mycelium and form hardy spores to survive tough, low-nutrient conditions. And just so you know, I might look like fungus, but I'm true bacterium. My family is well known for producing secondary metabolites, a powerful compounds like antibiotics and antifungals that help protect plants by keeping harmful microbes in check. That's why farmers love using us in biopesticide and biofertilizers. We help crops grow healthier and more resilient naturally. In the rhizosphere, I play a crucial role in protecting plants through the production of bioactive secondary metabolites. My group, particularly the Streptomyces, produces over 70% of non-antibiotics, including streptomycin, tetracycline, and chloroamphenicol, which inhibits bacterial growth. I also release antifungal compounds like nystatin and natamycin, and actinomycin D, which interferes with DNA transcription. These metabolites act through multiple mechanisms that inhibit cell wall, protein, and DNA synthesis in the pathogen. They degrade fungal cell walls using enzymes such as chitinase, and they scavenge iron with siderophores, limiting resources available to harmful pathogens. In addition to direct antimicrobial activity, I help prime the plant's immune system by activating the salicylic acid and jasmonic/ethylene pathways. This prepares the plant for a faster and more effective defense against future attacks. Sounds confusing? Let me show you. I don't just make compounds, I style in the rhizosphere. Wait, do you see that? There was a pathogen trying to infect the root. When that happens, I act fast. I release antibiotics and form biofilms as barriers. Lucky for the plant, it didn't bite it through.
Hi, I'm an pathogen. Plant pathogens are organisms that can infect and cause disease in plants. The pathogen consists of fungi, oomycetes, bacteria, and nematodes. Besides that, soil-borne pathogens are adapted to survive in both soil while they are active in rhizosphere. Soil pathogens commonly cause root rot and wilting in plants. The figure from the right shows that the plants are infected with root rot disease, and the root mass are significantly lower compared to the healthy plant. The pathogen can enter the plants through infection, chemically or physically. The pathogen will interact with the plant in the rhizosphere. The plant will release loose exudate that contains signaling molecules which will attract soil-borne pathogens toward the plant, and the loose exudate can promote or alleviate the pathogenic infection. Besides that, the soil-borne pathogen also will induce more secretion of loose exudate, where it can attract more pathogens toward the plants, and the pathogen will secrete protein and nucleic acid that will use to promote infection towards the plant. The example of soil-borne pathogen is Fusarium oxysporium cubinis. It is a fungal pathogen that causes Panama disease in banana plants. In rhizosphere, the banana plant will release loose exudate that will trigger the germination of pyridospore of the pathogen, and it will induce the infection of the Panama disease towards the plant. In the rhizosphere, the pathogen will infect the plant by invading the plant tissue through natural pores and wounds, or by penetrating the physical structure of the plant. The pathogen will penetrate the plant cell using special structure like apothorium and enzymes like ligase and cellulose. When the pathogen enters the plant cell, the pathogen will multiply and spread inside the plant, causing the disease.
Now you see the soil ecosystem is very complex with a lot of members interacting with one another. So next time you want to use a herbicide or pesticide, please think about us and think of the impact you do to our ecosystem. Thank you.